Well, happy Friday, everybody. This is James from Butler Farms up here at the shop getting a few things done and just kind of taking it easy after a work week. And it is hot in Alabama. Hot and humid and dry, dust everywhere. Not a good time to try to be raising food, I can promise you. I know some people still have some things in the ground. What little bit I had to survive this year, if you've watched my videos, you've seen my struggles this year. It happens every couple of years, well, 3 or 4 years, I guess I should say. But this is the time of year where it's kind of slow, so I'm catching up on some projects for this fall and this winter. I got one right over here. You can see I've been building cages right there for my new chestnut trees and hazelnut trees. The deer have tried to clip them off already. They're still small enough I can put them inside there, and if the deer still want in them, they can get in them, but that'll discourage them a little bit. But more on those later. But just simple things like that. But I was having a discussion with somebody, and it just kind of coincided with something that I saw with Mr. Danny and Miss Wanda down at Deep South Homestead at Pecan Grove. I was actually over on Miss Wanda's Crazy Days page, and she hasn't posted anything on there for a while, but I like to go over there and watch some of her older videos and stuff. And she was talking about some of her favorite resources, I guess you would say. And this is one of those times of year when I get caught up here, I work for a little while, and I'm like, you know, I'm just going to take it easy for a little while. You know I got things coming up. I got to clean those raised beds out to get a fall crop of lettuce in, and you know, I've turned my garden open so that the deer could get in it and help me out getting that stuff down. I'll be breaking that pretty soon to put in collards and turnip greens and stuff like that. So, but that stuff's still in a few weeks in the future. So what do I do with my downtime? Well, there's never really a lot of downtime, but it brought something to mind with another discussion I was having with somebody. So I was watching Miss Wanda's video, and she was going over some of these resources that she had, and wasn't 30 minutes later somebody came in and talked to me, and they were saying, you know, I went online and I found this, and then I went over here online and I found that. Guys, there's no better replacement. There's nothing better that you can do when it comes to growing things and raising things than to grow and raise things. You know, if you wait till you think you've got it all down because of what it says online, you are not going to grow any food. You're just not. And you know, you've got to make mistakes. I've looked back over what happened with my garden this year. I made some mistakes. I did. And you know, I knew better. I've been doing this a long time. And you know, I'm going to learn from those mistakes. Now, do I use resources? I absolutely do. I've got some trusted websites. I've told you before. I've got some trusted YouTube channels that I watch. I just mentioned some. Deep South Homestead at Pecan Grove, Crazy Days, because they are in a similar area of the country as me as far as weather and heat and humidity. And, you know, both of them in different areas are just you know, a bottomless pit of information. But I also have some other resources. And guys, one of the things I want to talk to you about is, you know, yes, the internet has some good stuff, and I do look up stuff from time to time if I want a quick reference, or look up a seed, you know, and see if it'll grow here kind of thing, see its growing zones and stuff like that. But guys, you need some hands-on materials, okay? You know, I have I have several jobs, as you know, and one of them that I always tell people, you know, yeah, you can get the information that we're getting ready to use on your phone, but when you're looking at it on your phone, are you tempted to look over there at your text messages and, you know, maybe Google something during the middle of you supposed to be listening to me and getting your mind right and things like that? So I like physical books. I like a physical Bible. I've got a Bible on my phone. I don't know if I've had it open 50 times in the years that I've had it on there. I like a physical Bible. I like a physical book. I don't like to read on Nooks or Kindles and things like that. I like to underline, and I like to highlight and things like that. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an example of one thing that I do during this time of year when it's slow, and some things that I'm trying to improve on and get better at. So let me turn you around real quick, and I will bring these right out. So One thing that I like to pay attention to is the way that food can not only nourish our body, and growing food that is nutrient dense, that uses everything that the good Lord has provided for us in the soil. And if we take care of that soil, it'll end up in the plants, and then the plants will end up in us. But I'm a firm believer that food is medicine, right? So one of the things I like to look into is herbs and foods and things like that. And guys, these are just a few examples, but like this one, the healing foods. And I don't know this author and things like that. You can see my bookmark up there at the top where I've been working through it, and I'll go through and I'll look up a particular food, you know. Here's one on grapefruit, for instance. Well, you know, some people like grapefruit, some people don't. But what it does do is it tells you why it's good for you, and it tells you, you know, what it can do and those kind of things. Let me show you another one. This one is, you can see what that is, growing and using healing herbs. And this is, you know, an older reference book. You can see that it doesn't have color pictures in it. But it does go into how to raise them, how to grow them, how to preserve them, and it goes in herb by herb. For instance, here is mullein, and some of this won't grow here, and I know that. But you know, if you know how I feel about pharmaceuticals and things like that, guys, they're just pumping poisons into us left and right. And you know, one of the things that I am, some of y'all may know this, some of y'all may not. In addition to my regular job and also being a pastor, I'm also a registered nurse. And you know, I have worked professionally and full time in the medical field. And you know, some of the things that I see, where we just have these people that stay sick all the time. They come back to the hospital all the time. We just pump them full of these poisons basically, and it makes them feel good, you know, for a little while, and it treats the symptoms. But you know, so many people in the medical field, you know, there was some study done about how little doctors have to study nutrition in medical school. Well, that seems funny to me, because if you look back over the course of human history, food was the medicine, right? Herbs were the medicine. And then all of a sudden we got in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, and now, you know, to become a medical doctor, what is it, one class that you have to take on the healing power of food and what it can do? And the beautiful thing about it is, you know, when we were pumping all those poisons into all those patients, you're setting it right for a little while, but then it's going to come back. These are chronic conditions that are going to come back. Well, instead of dealing with the symptoms, why don't you deal with the cause? And a lot of times the cause is because of what you are or are not putting in your body. So yes, I've got a lot of these reference types books and things like that, and I like to study about the herbs. And you know, I will make this disclaimer right here that as a registered nurse, as a medical professional, I am in no way giving you medical advice. Wouldn't do it, can't do it by law, not gonna do it. But for me and mine, if we can find an alternative, a natural alternative, we're going to take it. So I've picked up these books over the years. Here's another one that I have. Let me get you turned back around here. This is one that I actually bought, Essential Oils for Healing. And as you can see, you know, 400 recipes from essential oils. That's something new to me. I never really dealt with that much, but I'm learning about it. You can see my bookmark there, and gonna get better at that all the time. And then found these books, Healing Foods, again, a different version, you know. This one I like because not only can you look up the foods and see what they're good for and what they're not good for, you can actually look up your ailment in here. And you know, in addition to what your doctor may be telling you to do, you can change your diet, and depending on whatever you're suffering with, you can look that up in a book like this, and it will show you some foods that could possibly help that. So you know, here's just one right here, thrombosis, and you know, some of the key foods down through there and how they work and stuff like that that will help prevent you know, those from happening in the future. So all of that to say, you know, get you a library. You don't have to have one as extensive as I have, or you know, like Miss Wanda's. I've seen her shelves of books before. You don't have to have one that extensive. and you don't have to spend a lot of money. Those were just 4 books I pulled off real quick about herbs and healing foods and things like that that I use as a reference. I like to read them in my spare time just because I'm interested in it. But also, attached to our public library, we have what's called Friends of the Library, and this is a secondhand bookshop. And so 3 of those 4 books I bought at that secondhand bookshop, and grand total for those 3 was probably about $6. They're usually $2 to $3 a piece. And so, you know, I got $6 in that. And, you know, they may have newer versions of those books, but the information's still good. Only one of those 4 books I actually paid full price for. That's the Essential Oils book. So just a little quick video here. You know, I got asked the question, what do I do with my downtime? Well, I don't have any downtime. But if this is what downtime is, I'm reading books like that. Gardening, homesteading, raising animals, but also healing, health. And, you know, you can only trust so much what you find online. You know, anybody can claim to be an expert in anything they want to be. So be careful online. Find you some good YouTube channels, mine, and those like Deep South Homestead. Like I said, I've watched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their videos, and I've tried a lot of their things. They work. And I trust them. I see how they live, and you know, the health that they get from it. So I can believe in that. So, you know, get you a library that even if the power's down, you know, we lose internet. You never know in this world that we're living in now if we'll have access to online resources. I mean, that would be so easy to take out. It's not even funny. But you know what they can't take out? They can't take out my collection of seeds that I have and I save and I use year after year. They can't take out the hard copies of my Bible or my reference books. I've got them. The information's there at my fingertips, and I can make notes, I can highlight, I can do all those things that I can't do with online resources. So get you a library. Start looking around at secondhand bookstores, look at yard sales, anything like that, and get yourself some hardcover, you know, hold in your hand resources that you can use to help you as you grow, help you as you preserve, help you as you consume, and help you as you you know, try to improve your health and heal. All right, I'm gonna get off here. I'm not going to actually sit and read right now while I got some daylight. I'm going to get some things done. Guys, stay with us. Like I said, we got some things coming up. It wasn't a good year growing in the garden, but we're not done. We've got a fall crop coming. It won't look the same as the summer crop, obviously, but we're excited about it and excited to get our hands back in the dirt, and that'll be coming soon. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget, we love you. God bless you. This is James from Butler Farms, and we'll be seeing you.